So something I've been seeing a lot of election predictors do is that they assume that Arizona and Georgia and Wisconsin are going to be three easiest states to flip red in 2024. And I mean, it's partially understandable because these were the three closest states in 2020. But in my opinion, this is very incorrect because I mean, just looking at the closeness of the states is just one aspect of the equation. Another part of it is the trends, how each, because while I agree that Wisconsin is going to be easy, but the thing about Arizona and Georgia is that they, while they were still the closest currently, it's like they are trending massively blue, while Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, etc. They're trending massively red. So even though they were not as close, I think they will be much easier to flip than Arizona and Georgia in 2024. And I'm going to show you why. And I'm also going to show you, I know this is probably a provocative title, but why I think Trump is guaranteed to win the 2024 election, even if he does absolutely nothing. Like, he doesn't even have to try. And it's just off of three states alone and how they will trend. And so let's get into it. First, terminology wise, I want to distinguish between a shift and a trend. Lots of people, I hear this, apparently some people think North Carolina is going to flip blue. That's just because, one person, I heard him, he said, like, North Carolina trended 2 points blue from 2016 to 2020. If these trends continue, then in 2024, North Carolina is going to be blue. I'm like, no. You forget that the whole nation also shifted 2 points to the left. So North Carolina did not trend 2 points to the left. It shifted 2 points to the left, but it trended 0 points in any direction. So what you really should be thinking about is a shift is not equal to a trend. A shift is just, say, Wisconsin was Republican plus 0.8 in 2016, and then it was Democrat plus 0.6 in 2020. So that means the state shifted. The state shifted 1.4 points to the left, but the whole nation shifted 2.3 points to the left from 2016 to 2024. So therefore, Wisconsin shifted left less than the whole nation did. Therefore, Wisconsin actually trended Republican. It trended Republican by 0.9 points, nearly a full point, because you subtract 2.3 from 1.4 and you end up with R plus 0.9 or D minus 0.9. So, yeah, that's how you go about it. So, therefore, the whole argument, North Carolina is going to be blue, that's just ignorant on so many levels. Because I guess if you want to understand it more intuitively, think 2020 was really the best scenario that Joe Biden could have had. Everything was in his favor. COVID was, Trump was responsible for COVID, a national emergency, Trump was the incumbent, all those things. And so that's why we got like such a heavily Democrat national environment. It was D plus 4 points. He's not going to be able to replicate that again. There's not going to be a national emergency in 2024. And if there is actually there might be, but it would actually be blamed on Biden since Biden is the incumbent. So that would actually help Trump. So there's no way national environment would get to the same D plus 4.4 level that it was in 2020. So that's why I'm not going to make any predictions with any possible national environments that are higher than that. So yeah, to just think if Joe Biden couldn't win North Carolina during COVID, then he's not going to win. He's not going to win it in 2024 or anytime soon. So yeah. If you still think North Carolina has any chance of being blue, you're just ignorant on so many levels. Okay, I don't even mean that in a condescending way. It's just just factually, yeah. Yeah, so I guess with the trends, let's get into it. I'm going to show you what's going to happen if the trends from 2020 continue. So not the shifts, the trends. So right off the bat, let's just assume, we got here Wisconsin trended R plus 0.9. Pennsylvania, this been talked about the whole Rust Belt is trending heavily red, but Pennsylvania trended 0.4 points to the right. But truth is, Nevada, look at Nevada, it was D plus 2.4 in 2016 and in 2020. So that means there was zero shift, while the whole national environment moved left by 2.3 points. So therefore, Nevada trended right by 2.3 points, which is actually higher than this more than twice amount of even Wisconsin. So all this talk about the Rust Belt's trending red, but Nevada's trending red even heavier. So that's another misconception I have to dispel. And then Arizona, Arizona's trending, it got bluer than the whole nation did. So in that time span, so it trended Democrat plus 1.5. Georgia trended Democrat plus 3. So that's the heaviest here. And Michigan, surprisingly, it's part of the Rust Belt, but it actually trended Democrat, played 0.3 points. Not that much, but a little bit. So Michigan surprisingly defied the trend of the Rust Belt trending red. So yeah, you can see the numbers here. You can probably verify this by just going to Wikipedia or whatever. So given all these trends, I'm going to just do hypothetically, what if these trends continued into 2024 exactly as they did, and using just certain national environments. So let's start with, let's say by some miracle it still ends up being a D plus 4.4 national environment. So right off the bat, Wisconsin becomes R plus 0.3. And for the record, these are my margins. Tilt I just use as anything less than 1 point on either side. Lean as anything between 1 and 5 points. Likely is anything between 5 and 10. And safe is anything above 10. Now, Minnesota's not going to be safe. Maybe a lot of these other, New Mexico probably not going to be safe. North Carolina, Ohio, Florida. Well, Ohio's probably going to be safe, but I'm just going to avoid these states because I think it's pretty guaranteed that they're going to go one way or another. So I'm not going to bother with the margins in those states for this prediction. But anyway, Wisconsin flips anyway. So right off the bat, it's even if the national environment doesn't change, Wisconsin flips anyway. So Wisconsin is gone for Democrats. It's a guaranteed Republican state. So right off the bat, Wisconsin it flips no matter what. Nevada, it was D plus 2.4, and it will trend Republican by 2.3. So that would mean it would only be Democrat plus 0.1. So just by the skin of its teeth, it would be Democrat. And then Pennsylvania would be Democrat plus 0.8. So it was D plus 1.2, and then just add R plus 0.4 to it, so you'll get 0.8% Democrat. Still even a tilt margin. And then you get Arizona, D plus 1.8, so that's lean. So right off the bat, I'm actually going to point out something. You'll notice that Nevada votes to the right of Arizona, and yeah, I'm going to point out that this is not just conjecture. This is a guarantee. Just with the way the states are trending, even if you probably just have the trends, it's you still get Nevada voting to the right of Arizona. So, predictions that have Arizona red but Nevada blue are just not accurate. Like that's not going to happen. If anything, it's probably going to be Nevada red and Arizona blue. So, it would more likely be something like this. Something like this. Nevada tilt red, Arizona tilt blue. Or it could be Nevada lean red, Arizona tilt red. Or it could be Nevada tilt blue, Arizona lean blue. Just like it is in this prediction. But yeah, so Arizona would be D plus 1.8. That's a lean margin. Michigan, D plus 3.1. It's a lean margin. And Georgia, D plus 3.3, which is even heavier Democrat than Michigan. So Georgia will vote to the left of Michigan. Yeah, so similarly, it's also pretty inaccurate. Lots of people are saying that Georgia is going to be red and Michigan is going to be blue. Like, no, that's not going to happen. No. If the more accurate, Michigan would flip before Georgia would. Yeah, so dispelling that, right off the bat. Anyway. Yeah, this is what the election looks like if there's somehow Joe Biden manages to replicate the 4.4 national environment. He still would not get enough, the same electoral votes that he did back in 2020. Not just because of, the population shift, but also because right off the bat, Wisconsin is going to flip anyway. So, yeah, but more likely, I think it's highly unlikely that Joe Biden is going to get this kind of a national environment. I think it's impossible completely. So I'm going to go for a more realistic estimate. So I'm going to shift the national environment to D plus 3.4. So it gets 1 point more Republican than it was in 2020. So, so then now, Wisconsin becomes R plus 1.3. This is just shift each state over by a point to the right. So Wisconsin actually becomes a lean red state. And then now Nevada becomes R plus 0.9, so tilt Republican. And Pennsylvania becomes R plus 0.2, which is also tilt Republican. So this is enough to give Trump the victory. He's at 270 electoral votes. And all it will take to do that is a shift of 1 point to the right. I think it's pretty much guaranteed that it's going to do at least a point to the right, if not more. It's probably going to do more than that, but so that's why I believe 2024, Trump is guaranteed to win the election, even if he does absolutely nothing. Just because, the national environment is likely going to shift a point to the right anyway, even if he does absolutely nothing. And these states, these three states, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Nevada, are just going to flip. These three states are guaranteed flips. So that's why I believe it's guaranteed Republican win 2024. I don't believe the Democrats even have a shot. So I guess I'm gonna finish up this little prediction. So what else changes in this prediction? Arizona becomes D plus 0.8, so just tilt. Yeah, as you can also see. This is one of the realistic things we talked about, scenarios we talked about in the last bit. Michigan becomes D plus 2.1, and Georgia becomes D plus 2.3. So these remain lean Democrat states. Another thing I have to point out is Nevada is not... this is also why it's also so absurd to put Nevada blue while Arizona red. Nevada is, depending on the trends, Nevada is not only going to vote to the right of Arizona, but it's also going to vote to the right of Pennsylvania. Yeah, so Nevada's is actually trending the heaviest right. So, yeah, Don't you dare put Nevada blue ever again. Okay, I don't want to see that anymore. Okay, okay, get your facts right. Okay, so let's say, what if it gets down to around D plus 2.4? So that's pretty close to what it was in 2016 with Hillary Clinton. It was D plus 2.1 back then. So now Wisconsin, R plus 2.3, still lean red. Nevada plus 1.9, R. So Nevada becomes lean red instead of tilt. Pennsylvania becomes lean red, R plus 1.2. About the same margin Joe Biden won it by. Arizona becomes R plus 0.2, which is tilt red. So again, you see Nevada voting to the right of Arizona. And then Michigan becomes D plus 1.1, Georgia D plus 1.3. So they're still barely lean states, blue. So here you can see you probably need D plus 2.5 to flip Arizona. So here, yeah, Arizona flips red. So if Trump wants to flip Arizona for like a symbolic show, he needs to get the environment down to 2.5, roughly around the same as Hillary Clinton. So he probably needs to replicate a lot of the Hillary Clinton type scenarios. And then let's say he does even better than that. Let's say he gets it to a D plus 1.4. So here, Nevada, Arizona becomes lean red, R plus 1.2. R plus 1.2. Michigan becomes D plus 0.1, just barely, by the skin of its teeth, Democrat. And Georgia becomes D plus 0.3, which is also barely by the skin of its teeth. So these two become tilt states. Still not enough to flip, though, even there. Just need a D plus 1. D plus 1 exactly, though. By then, Michigan becomes R plus 0.3 and Georgia R plus 0.1. So if you really want to if Trump wants to get back to the same electoral vote count that he got in 2016 and exceed it a little bit, but he can't get to the exact count. He has to only exceed it. His only option is exceeding it. But to get to that level, he would have to get a D plus 1 national environment, or like lower than that. So that might be a little hard to do, but yeah, he's saying he has to do better than he did in 2016 in order to even crack the same electoral count. So that's another thing to think of. And then if you get to D plus 0.4, well, it's the same thing. Not really much interesting else to show. But yeah. So I just wanted to clarify this a lot. I'm pretty tired of people saying Arizona and Georgia are going to be easy to flip. No. First state, Wisconsin, is going to be easiest to flip. And then Nevada. And then Pennsylvania. And then Arizona. And then Michigan. And then Georgia. So I think it's entirely realistic to put a prediction like this, where every state here flips except Georgia. Nevada will go blue before Georgia. So I think that is a completely realistic prediction. This is not a realistic prediction. This will not happen. Michigan will not stay blue while Georgia goes red. That's not going to happen. And similarly, Nevada is not going to be blue while Arizona is red. No, I don't see that happening. So, I think this is a reasonable prediction. I think this is a reasonable prediction. And I think this is. And I think, yeah. So there we have it. There's the order of the swing states, and Georgia is going to be the hardest to flip. So I think, honestly, Whoa, what's going on? What's going on? So I think honestly, Trump should probably just give up Georgia. Like it's not worth it. He should focus his efforts on Wisconsin. Well, probably Wisconsin is going to be guaranteed anyway. He should focus on Nevada and Pennsylvania, just for safekeeping. And then maybe if he's a little ambitious, he should go for Arizona. And maybe Michigan, but who knows? I mean, I think Michigan is going to be pretty hard to flip. So maybe just pull out of Michigan and pull out of Georgia. Don't waste your resources there. And just focus on Nevada, Pennsylvania, maybe Arizona. Probably Arizona and a little bit in Wisconsin too. Yeah. So if you're watching this right now, I don't know, whoever is in the Donald's campaign staff, just here's some advice for you. Yeah. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later.